Hey, what up? I ended up getting first place in a locals with Runick Spright. So here's the deck. 3 Iperia, this is the normal summon, it just says on summon, draw a card. Pretty much every Runick build plays this because drawing Runick spells is good. 1 Cap Shell, this is another draw card that you can either normal summon or summon off Gigantic or reborn it after discarding it for Hugin. The draw effect triggers if it's tributed, linked off, or detached for cost from an Xyz. So you can link it into Elf, draw 1, then reborn it, put it as an Xyz material under your Gen Buster, and then detach, and that is another draw 1. And that's hopefully drawing you hand traps or runic spells that just completely shut your opponent down from being able to play. For the sprites, 2 blue, 2 jet, and then 1 each of pixies, red, and carrot. These ratios might seem kinda whack, they might be kinda whack. I currently only have 2 blue, but I don't think it's necessary to play 3. Blue is jet is blue, starter is blue. You ideally draw so many cards with this deck that having different names might help you to not clog on the same ones. Pixies I'm playing because he's epic. The potential value this card offers feels worth the space he's taking up. Did I ever activate this card? No. 1 starter, 1 smashers. Again, playing less than 3 of this might seem insane, but this is more being used as a searchable follow-up than an actual starter most of the time. This card can also fuck you in time. The hand traps, even more whack ratios. 3 Crow, 2 Nib, 2 Bell, 2 Ash, and 1 Moonlit Chill. I wanted to play 3 Moonlit Chill, but I could only find the 1. No Impermavailer because I wanted cards that could all react to Haveness and also be effective after I draw on their turn with Fountain. I didn't play against any Tear Lament somehow, so I don't even know if these are good. 10 hand traps and a 42 card deck, I don't know how that would have done. Nib in general is questionable. It's a good card to draw to help you feel safe, but a lot of the decks can just play around it, and it might be better if it was just Veiler or additional copies of the other hand traps. But I actually don't hate the idea of keeping these ratios at 2 because you draw so much. It's kind of like how Salamangreat builds used to play 2 of everything because of Desires and Flame Buffalo go and hog wild. It's an idea. Then the Runick cards. 2 Fountain. You could play 1, but 2 seems good. Good to have even post-siding. I had Fountain get hit with Cosmic twice, and having the backup is just nice. Plus, just having the threat of a Hugin activating might be enough to bait an Imperm, which might free you up for gigantic plays. Then 3 Tip, 3 Freezing Curses, 3 Flashing Fire, 3 Destruction, 3 Slumber, and 1 each of Dispelling and Smiting Storm. I thought about playing the 1 Golden Droplet just to really max out on the different names I could have, but I'm already over 40 cards and this seemed good enough. Moving on to the extra deck, 2 Elf. It's pretty easy to go through both of these turn 1 and then lack the follow-up of a third, so that might be something I want to add. 1 IP. I feel like this is the primary goal of this deck, is always end on Elf IP. That should be the minimum. 1 Dark. I never summon this, but it could potentially steal an opponent's IP and facilitate some of your bigger links. And if it's destroyed by an opponent's card, you can search blue, jet, pixies, DD Crow. So in the off chance that happens, and you're also not dead, that's pretty cool. 1 Unicorn. I don't think I ever summoned this. Link 4s, I'm playing Unchained Abomination, Avermax, and Topologic Bomber Dragon. A lot of builds will only play 1 of these, but I like them all and I think they're all funny. Of these 3, I only summoned Avermax, but in a more control-oriented matchup, Unchained Abomination can go crazy. And in a more link-oriented matchup, Bomber Dragon can go crazy. 1 Underworld Goddess, yeah, I'm playing this one too. It was between this and Soul Sweeper. I wanted to have a card that can out anything, and this also has a decent synergy with IP, so I felt it was worth it. Actually getting enough monsters on the field to summon Goddess probably isn't going to happen unless you're already in a good position. While this guy can help you when you're behind to help you get ahead. 1 Gen Buster, this is a monster negate and burn for 500. 2 Gigantic, another one I feel I need 3 of. Like, just being able to summon a big dude that baits responses so well and is so easy to summon. Having 3 of this over one of the Link 4s might really help the deck's grind game. Then the Runicks, 2 Hugin, 1 Jerry. I honestly thought 3 Hugin was necessary, but 2 felt fine. There's some combo lines that go hard in the paint, using both field spells going through multiple Hugins turn 1. I'm just not gonna do those combos. I will simply hold the second fountain if I search it for follow-up in case the first one gets taken out. I never summon Jerry. Primary use case would be to summon him in the battle phase and crash to pop a card. Never came up where that needed to happen, but I still think it's worth playing, and he probably goes hard in the mirror match. For the side deck, 3 Droll. I don't know about this, it's mainly here for danger tier, but I could easily see this card doing next to nothing if they play a specific way. Still a good card against decks like Drytron should you queue into them, and it's also pretty good in the mirror, I'd imagine, though you can dampen the effectiveness of this card by playing in the draw phase more, which I tried to do whenever I had the chance. It also plays around Valor, so I don't know about this one. 1 Red Resonator. I did summon this round 3, and I thought about putting it in round 2 as well. I was very worried about time playing this deck because you skip your battle phases and the matches are just naturally going to go longer. Round 2, if my opponent wanted to, they could have made plays that effectively didn't result in anything meaningful just to waste time, and I didn't side this card in because I didn't think it was going to go that late. But it was getting pretty close, and thankfully my opponent was cool and he didn't stall out to win an otherwise unwinnable game. But that is something to keep in mind with this deck. You gotta play fast, and you have to push your opponents to play fast as well, because they could definitely scum you out of a win if they wanted to. Moving on, 1 Called by the Grave. This is kind of just a throw-in random one-of that you're most likely not going to see. I didn't really feel like it was that necessary to main deck, because this deck is not easy to hand trap. I won it for cards like Shifter and things like Cherries, maybe even Totally Awesome. I drew it once in round 3, and I did have the defense against Shifter should it come down, but there was no Shifter to be seen, so I just discarded it with Hugin. Not that great against Exosister. 3 Lightning Storm. This card feels very good. I brought it in all 3 rounds, and the utility of this being able to crush back row decks or just Raigeki as Swordsoul players' monsters is incredible. And I'm also pairing this card with 3 Evenly. If you open both of these, that is pretty nasty. I'm usually kind of afraid to play Lightning Storm because of anti-spell, but with Evenly and with Runick Destruction, you're probably going to be fine. Just remember to get into the battle phase if you want to use any Runick spells before using Evenly, because you gotta have a battle phase. Then the last 4 cards are extremely degenerate, Eradicator Epidemic Virus, and 1 Trap Trick to search it. I only resolved this card once, calling Traps against Exosister round 3, and I hit 2 Solemn Judgments out of their hand. I was trying to get Evenly, but I'm assuming they thought that I would let them start. With Red Reboot banned, there's essentially no counter to me just having Imperial Order, so yeah, that's the deck. It's my first time playing it in locals. I thought it was pretty fun. Drawing cards is always fun, and that's what made me want to play this list. Anyway, thanks for watching.